Welcome back, and thank you for joining me here in episode 10 already. Time is absolutely flying. But today, after long last, we are going to do it. We're going to relocate the bees. I have already picked them up. They are already in a shulker chest because I just happened to be running past and it was night and they were all tucked up in their little bee beds. And we shall be moving them into their own special little place. It's kind of like a greenhouse. It's going to be part of like a... what am I trying to say? An apothecary. Is that the word? It's one of those words where every time I say it out loud it just seems terribly wrong. A potion shop. I like the idea that as a mage is working away trying to make potions, they've also got a little greenhouse on the side which is where they grow, or at least tend to a lot of the ingredients. And it would be lovely if bees were a part of that. So here's the squad, ready to go, all nice and tidy. As I have been building all of these buildings, strangely enough, I've actually thought that over here, on this little flat bit, might be quite a nice place to have a sort of magical section. To have, you know, like a wizard or something up here and a mage, some kind of like healer. They may be slightly out of the way of the main town, a little bit on the outskirts as if they're suspicious. So it might be quite nice to put them up here at the edge of the woods, maybe even let the woods creep in around them a bit more so it's quite dark and secluded. But it's quite a nice naturally flat bit. Maybe have something down here, something on the edge that's maybe looking out over this valley over here. There's a nice drop here, goes into some more forests, including some magical mushroomy forests down there. And up here also has quite a nice view out over the town once you get to the edge. It's sort of still in a position of grandeur. I mentioned before that I would quite like this town to have like a hierarchy. The higher up the hill you are, the more relevant the build is to the town and the people. But today I'm also going to be moving these farm animals down here that are all in a big jostly pit of noise. They're just in here for now, for convenience, because I had nowhere else to put them. But I'll get them some proper barns. I would actually like to set up a fully automated wool farm with every single colour, because I'm surprisingly using wool way more than I thought I would be. I shall be moving these into new homes today as well, but these guys will be staying down here in the farmland, an escapee. So I'll clear some of these trees, I'll move some of these crops, we'll build some little buildings and some little pens, but they're going to be quite discreet. They're going to be simplistic, very rough, and just made out of wood. Things like the mangrove rooftops I actually want to save for pretty much exclusively the human dwellings. So things like the guardhouses, the villages, things like the library. I like to think that because that's not a wood that is native to this village, it would be treated with a little bit of reverence. The people would really only use it for special things. They wouldn't necessarily waste it on a cow barn. But who's to say it's wasted? The cows might really appreciate it. So the main job for today is going to be building the beehive / greenhouse / potion shop that is going to be up here. And that will set a kind of foundation and a bit of groundwork for any other magical works that we wish to put up here later down the line. But whilst we're on the topic of farms, there is something that quite a few people have been asking about, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. I think that this might be quite a nice idea. So quite a few people have asked if I will be staying in this world basically forever, or if I will be moving on to new worlds as and when this particular build is done. This was something I'd been thinking about myself, and I was kind of 50-50 on the idea, but I'm actually growing to really like the idea of just staying here. Obviously, we'll upgrade the worlds as and when new versions of Minecraft come out, and we'll get all the new blocks and everything, but we'll stay here. And when this village is done, we'll go somewhere else and make a different village. And then we'll connect the two, and we'll build things in between, and we'll just keep going. Forever. I don't really think I need to just start a new world every time and start with the process of getting enchanting setups and finding a spawner to use. There's so many things that we just don't need to do. We've done it, and it's fine. So staying in this one world and just improving it over time and over time, adding more creatures. Having this be a world where we build a library of creatures and a library of characters to refer back to. That might be really nice. That might be a lovely thing to do. I'm also feeling that if I make everything all in one world, I'm more inclined to do stuff that is grander. The case in point being things like the creeper farm. At the moment, my creeper farm generates about 1 stack of gunpowder every hour. It is not particularly brilliant. But if I knew I was staying in this world forever and I wanted more gunpowder and I wanted a bigger farm, there's absolutely no reason why I can't just expand this one. At the moment, it's just one layer of a very small amount of space, and it trickles over a little bit in the background. I think it's probably been an hour or two since I checked this and I haven't been AFK on the platform, but it's not very productive, and the same with things like my sugarcane farm, it's also not very productive. But if I know I'm going to be staying here forever, then it might be kind of cool to just keep improving it. Make a massive sugarcane farm that is never going to let me down. And there's also things I'd never typically do. I'd never build some of the massive nether farms, like, you know, the gold farms. I'd probably never dare try to do anything with prismarine, because getting hold of prismarine is such a pain in the butt. But if I'm going to be staying here, building a guardian farm is actually something I would be willing to invest the time and effort into. Please excuse me whilst I just shed some steak crumbs there. I don't really have many intentions for Minecraft and for YouTube in general, but I just would like to get better at the game. I would like to explore more of the game that I don't typically explore, and I think exploring things like farms and redstones by staying in the same world forever might actually just be a really sensible way of doing it. It might also be quite nice to have a catalogue of builds all in one world. In a year's time, 2 years' time, we can come here and say, wow, we've really come on a bit, we've improved so much since then. Or maybe we won't, maybe we'll look back and go, yeah, we're still doing fairly similar things, what can we experiment with, what do we need to change? And maybe as new blocks are added, such as, you know, the bamboo blocks, every time we have an update, it will be lovely to come back and add to the existing builds. If in the future an update introduces something that is very different and we end up going off to a completely different part of the world to do something entirely new, it would be nice to bring echoes of that back into here. This is meant to be, you know, in the future, a trading world. It is going to have docks, and we're going to have markets, and we're going to have people implied as being from other settlements. So why don't we just build the other settlements? And they can bring parts of those settlements to here, and parts of this settlement can go to the new ones. But for now, let's get back to building for today, because I think I've rambled about that quite enough. So we are, for the moment, done. We have some kind of bee home place. When I made the design in Creative, I actually really quite liked it, and I thought that it looked quite cool. But now that I've put it in situ, and it's got all the hills and stuff around it, because my build world is a super flat, it actually looks a bit weird. I don't really know what's wrong with it. I think I need to take down the azalea. I think that's just too green and too pink. We've got it next to the darker, cooler colours of these towers and the spruce, so I think having this bright pink and this bright green is kind of a bit out of place, so I might just take that down. The basic structure I actually quite like, something about it isn't sitting right, and I think it's actually its function. I think I don't mind this as being a greenhouse, but I think the idea of having the bees in here is what's wrong. And I think it's because they're kind of just in a room. I feel like this isn't really a place where you should keep bees. The council gathers. So I'm thinking that I will at some point convert this into being the potion shop and then move the bees somewhere else, have the bees in another greenhouse, like an actual greenhouse, where they can tend to a wide variety of crops. They're not just in a room. I don't know, this seemed kind of cute in principle, like, cute as a concept, and now that I've done it, I'm like, something about it just seems a bit weird. Kind of cute, but kind of weird. I was planning on making the potion shop at the same time that I made this one, but I don't actually have anywhere I'm going to put it. This ended up way bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I ended up levelling off some of the ground here. We'll talk about that in a moment. I just don't know where to put it, and I've not really got a specific design for it, so I'm thinking that it might be nice to have a few magical buildings, like I mentioned before, having like a wizard's tower or something like that, some kind of like magical forbidden library. And then we actually have maybe like a market hall, where all the potion sellers and the booksellers, it's all in like one place. And we make that all kind of like big and grand and mysterious. But something about this just isn't sitting right, so it probably will get changed in time. I'm certainly going to swap out these leaves. I'm going to take some of them off. Well, I'm going to take all of the azalea leaves off, and I'll put in some like oak and birch in its place, but I think I'll just reduce the amount of greenery. I think the moss is doing more than enough on its own. And down here, where we've got this weird little blip of land that I talked about last episode, or was it when I did the kennel? I think it's when I did the kennel. I mentioned this weird bit of land and not knowing what to do with it. Well, because it sweeps around, it's like a little arm hugging the top of the cliff here. I didn't want to take it down because that would mean so much terraforming. So what I've done is just flattened this bit off, and I'm actually going to put a big cliff face in here, possibly slightly curving in, so it's following these curves a little bit. It'll echo the design choices here. We've already got some cliffs here, so we'll just echo it along. We'll tidy this up in a moment and finish this off, but I thought this was a better use for it and kind of more in keeping with some of the existing design choices than just flattening that little bump. Quite like keeping the weird bits of the terrain generation when you can. But before we move on, I must report some sad news. Some very sad news. When I was up here working away, I was visited by a wandering trader, which might not seem particularly terrible. I didn't really think anything of it. I just ignored him and carried on working, and I completely forgot that down here there was a wild wolf, untamed. There is no longer a wild wolf untamed. When I saw the trader last, there was a single llama down here, and again, I thought nothing of it, but having a wild wolf aggroing on a llama probably resulted in that llama spitting at the wolf until the wolf is no more. We have lost Flitch. The others are still fine inside the building, but we have now learnt the lesson that we cannot put wild wolves outside purely because of wandering traders. That is not something I predicted. There is a very slim chance that Flitch is running free out there somewhere, because I do keep finding little piles of bones and arrows as if he's been taking down the skeletons, but I have not seen a single trace of him. I have seen no white movement. I haven't heard any wolfy noises scampering around. There's no sign of him, except little piles of bones occasionally, so he might still be out there. If we find him, we find him. I suspect he lost a fight with a llama, which is very sad. But with all that done, I will just finish off this little cliff bit here. At some point, we might even put something in here. This might be nice to have as like a little magical storage place, maybe some kind of secret storage that's like just hidden in the rock. Maybe use some redstone to make a piston door. That would be kind of cool, and very fitting with the tone of what's going to come up here. Finish the cliff, change the leaves. There we are, some simple cliffs done. It matches up with what's going on here, and it just makes this feel more intentional and deliberate, and is a better way of dealing with this strange land blip, I think. I also changed out the leaves, which I think looks a lot better. It's far less vivid. And I also took away some of the little weird viney grass things that you get in the nether around whatever this is. What are you? You're crimson, aren't you? There's like the weird kind of nether grass almost. I think I've got some in the main greenhousey bit. Yeah, this stuff. I had some of this stuff on the roof. I've taken that off as well because I think that's just too bold a colour. It was too eye-catching and a bit jarring. This one's not too bad. It blends in with the poppies and it's kind of a bit more muted. It's in line with the spruce and the podzol. But the other one was just too vivid, so I took those out as well. And I think generally it looks a lot better. I might even have to take off some of those vines. They might be a bit too bright. That green's a bit too bold. The more I look at it and the more I kind of leave it alone, the more the problems will become apparent, and I'll know how to move forwards with changing those problems. But for now, the bees are safe, They're generating honey. If I need to come get something, if I need some honeycomb or if I need some honey blocks, I can just come up here and get stuff. I've got the barrels down here should I need some storage. Yep, they're just gonna keep going. They're a bit more safe. They won't wander off as much. One day we'll build something more fitting for them, give them a bit more freedom and a bit more sunlight. I think it's the darkness in here that bothers me. Bees shouldn't be in the dark. If we're building a trading hub kind of world here, it might actually be quite nice to make something that's similar to this. Very level, very flat, very uniform, with a glass roof and glass sides, and obviously some spruce support. But to have it somewhere almost as like a kind of botanical gardens, that they're getting lovely new exotic plants and flowers from all over the world via these ships, and then they've got somewhere where they're displaying them, and maybe that's where the bees can go. That would be really nice. And it would kind of make sense in terms of the build and the story of this little world. We'll find a place for it, we'll make it work, we'll get the bees a proper home. All in good time. You figure things out by doing, so just keep doing. I was planning on putting the automatic wool farm down here, but I realise, with me putting a dock here, and having another one here, that it might actually be better to keep this waterway, this kind of loop that's connected to the river, as sort of the docks. And have a bit of farmland, have some smaller farmland builds, but I don't want to put a great big wool farm, something that is going to take hours to move and rebuild if I decide I want this spot for something else. So for now, I'm going to leave this as mostly wooded. I'll move the cows and the pigs into something a little more decorative, perhaps down here, finish off this little bit, well, not finish it, but add to this little bit down here with the stables. There's my horse spinning on the bushes, as horses are known to do. But I'm thinking that I'll put my wool farm in here. I've got a load of little farms built into the back here, and if we go behind this wall, there's actually the original base. The original base that I had is kind of like here, so there's already an area that's sort of hollowed out. I just need to connect it and widen it out a bit. Because the wool farm is purely functional, I don't necessarily want it to be a pretty design, and I just want it to tick over the wool colours in the background. This seems like a sensible place to put it, and I also want to start working on this tunnel at some point anyway to connect it up to wherever it's going up to. So I can just make it as a little access tunnel that goes to some of the additional rooms and farms, and I can add it into a full tunnel when I know where it's going. So now I just need to try and find the original base back here and connect it up. And there we are. Really wasn't far. We're just down here, and there it is. Here's the old lava farm. Hello. Yes, I shall clear all this out. I shall use this space, and we'll just make a very simple wool farm that will tick over, give me all the colours, and then once I've got a baseline of the colours, you know, things like the pink that I'm not likely to use very often, some of the very bright colours, once I've got maybe 10 stacks of each, I'll swap them over to being the colours that I use more often, like the reds and the browns and the greys. Ah, this is the underside of the base. I can actually still walk around in here. Here's my craft tables. Weird. This feels like years ago, and it was like 10 weeks. Very strange. Done! We have a noisy sheep room. You guys are so noisy! Thankfully I don't hear them when I'm up in the main base, even though they're quite close, but yep, they're noisy. Now last little job. I want to put one of each wool just in front, in that little gap. Purple's doing well. Now I know these are just going straight into hopper minecarts at the moment, but this thing ticks over reasonably slowly, so just coming in once a week to change and empty out the hoppers should do absolutely fine. I've built in some storage at the end here for each colour, and I will manually just decant stuff across for now. If this starts to get out of hand, I will dig down, I will put in some chests for it to feed into, but for now, this will probably do. Now we know which sheep is which colour, so when I come to dye them, I know which ones to dye. I mean, of course, I probably have to take the shears out and let them regrow their wool and then dye them, but I would see the colour anyway, but this is easier to figure out which one is which. The room isn't decorated at all, there's no need to right now, because I don't know what's going to come at the end here. I don't know if I'm going to branch anything off to the sides, I don't know if I'm even going to do anything potentially up above. That might be quite nice. I'll bring this lot over and have all my wool in one place. For now, I've just got to tidy up the last little bits of these farm animals. Ow. My face. Cows need a home. There should be some sheep. I think there was 2 sheep left over, but they did escape whilst I was bringing the lot over, so I've got to go find them again. There's one. Let's see if I can lure them back over. Come here, you. Where's your friend? There's one. I'm going to get 2. There we go. I'll get a couple of extras. You made a pink baby. It's cute. I think I'm going to keep these guys more or less in this area. I'll just clear out some of these trees. I'd like to keep some. I like keeping these big decorative oaks. They're always nice. I'll just pop some pens down here and a couple of little farm buildings. Again, this stuff might get moved as the docks expand, so I won't spend too long here. I just want something that's, you know, pretty, nice. Looks like it should be here. Look at all the torches I've accidentally spammed in here. Let's take some of these out. That bit's quite nice from this side, isn't it? We were at the docks down here with the cursed water. It's coming together, little by little. Now that I've cleared this bit, I don't actually know what to put down here. I think I'll probably keep the pigs down here. But everything else, I don't know, something about the flatness of it. Being right onto the water seems like a really weird place to put the farm. I mean, this bit needed clearing anyway for when I come to start the docks, so it's no great hardship, but where shall I put these guys? Oh, you grew up. That was lovely. I don't want them on the hillside. I don't really want them too close to the base because they're noisy. I was originally thinking down here, but unless I have them in like very tiny cramped pens, they're going to be quite squished because that's not as big as it looks. I don't want this bit to be too crowded. I don't want there to be building upon building upon building, but this bit here, this might be quite nice to have some of them. Might put the cows here, in this little nook. I've only got a couple of sheep, so they don't need a huge pen, and the same with the pigs. The llamas I could just put in the stables for now, so I might do that. Llamas, cows, pigs and sheep maybe back here somewhere. This little bit. That's where I'm planning on putting a dock this side. And then it's here on this side. And this archy bit. I would like to put stuff here. I don't know. I don't know what I want here. Maybe like a tavern, maybe some more village. A little bit of farmland stretching out, but probably just crops. I don't really want to put farm buildings and stuff there. And again, windmills. I did have plans for windmills around here. I'll go sleep because it's nighty night. Why are they so obsessed with my corners? Have been rehomed, and this one is just staring at me. You alright? Alright, okay, a bit shy. They've got some food, they've got some grass to eat, they've got a paddling pool, apparently. And over here, around the other side, we've got the piggies and the sheep. They're just hidden back here for now. I said I didn't want to crowd this too much, but I also didn't want to clear it too much, and I actually don't mind it crowded now that it's crowded. And that tree has grown. I put a sapling there because I thought it would be too restricted to grow, but no, it's grown and filled that in. I might have to clear that. Oh well. Here's the sheep. I have dyed them to some more natural colours. I really like the brown ones, it's really cute. They're fairly similar builds, slightly different in size. The cow one is ever so slightly bigger, but the principle is the same. I've got some piggies and some berries and I'm hurting myself. I'll connect them up with some proper paths as and when I know exactly where everything is going. Oh, I also found some more llamas. I've just popped these llamas in here for now. The others are still in the hole over there. They'll probably get moved somewhere else. But I've popped some llamas in there and given them some nice different coloured carpets. Again, really like the brown one on the pale llamas, really cute. But yes, I'd like to sweep a path down here, I think. Might be quite nice to curve it, so to have it follow quite close to the stables and then to curve it round there and then to curve it into the dock, and then I've got some room to put something here at the foot of the hill. Don't know what, but something will go here. Maybe a big wolf statue might be quite nice here, a bit bigger than these ones. as a greeting for people coming in via the docks. But we've done enough for today, I think, so I will once again call it here. I don't really have any plans for next episode. I'm probably going to start doing some tidying up, expanding things like the sugarcane farm and the creeper farm, putting in some of the paths where I know they're going to go, and just sort of tidying things up. And I might start work on some docks. I might put in some of the infrastructure for where the docks are going to go, and then little by little I can start to clear out the river so that it looks a little bit more useful for boats, because like that bit there is probably a bit narrow. But I don't have any great plans, anything set in stone for next week, so we shall see. We shall see what we end up doing. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!